Good morning, everyone. I am Sirisha, physics teacher from Meru International School. Today, I am going to explain Archimedes' principle. Why I am choosing this topic is Archimedes' principle is one of the important topic in grade 9 CBSE. But unfortunately, due to this pandemic situation, this topic is deleted from the curriculum. So today my class is helpful for all the grade 9 students. Archimedes principle. When a body is immersed fully or partially in a fluid, it experiences an upward force that is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it. You didn't understand anything? Okay, I will explain line by line clearly with the help of an experiment. When an object or a body is immersed fully or partially in a fluid, you need to select an object. Here I choose a stone which doesn't have any particular shape. If we immerse this object like as shown in the figure in any fluid, what happens here on the object? The fluid exerts an upward force on the object which is equal to weight of the liquid displaced out. When a body is immersed fully or partially in a fluid, then this body experiences an upward force that is equal to the this upward force. Again, this upward force is also known as upthrust, and one more name is buoyant force. What is buoyant force? Buoyant force is nothing but upward force exerted by any fluid on the object which is immersed in it. So this buoyant force is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced out. Why the liquid is displaced out? Because we are immersing the object in the fluid. So what happens when you immerse the object in a fluid? This object occupies the space in the water. Because of that, water level rises up. If you are taking an overflow beaker, in that case, the raised water will overflow through the neck. So, how much amount of water is overflowed through the neck if we collect in another beaker and we measure its weight, then the weight of the liquid displaced out by this object is equal to the buoyant force experienced by the fluid. I hope now it is clear. So, how much buoyant force the water or a fluid exerts on an object, that buoyant force is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it. Shall we do it practically? To do this activity, first of all, I took the overflow beaker and I filled with water till the neck or till the brim. Then you can see why water has a color little bit yellowish. Yes, for clarity, for visibility, I added some amount of color so that you can easily notice or identify the water is spilling out of the conical flask or overflow beaker. So, what is the irregular shape object I took here? It's a stone. So first of all, I am measuring the weight of the stone with the help of a spring balance in air. How much its weight in air, then I will measure the weight of the stone in water. Will it be same or different? Yes, we can measure the weight of a object with the help of a spring balance. So I suspended the stone with the help of a thread to the spring balance. What is the reading on the spring balance? Yes, the weight of the stone is 25 gram weight. The pointer is locating at 25 grams. Now the second step. First step what we did? We measured the weight of an irregular shaped object with the help of a spring balance. In the second step, I am measuring the weight of the stone in water. At the same time, I am collecting the overflow water. How much amount of water is spilling out when this object is kept in a fluid called water. right? You noticed clearly some amount of water is displaced that I collected in another measuring beaker. And if you see or notice on the spring balance, the weight of the spring balance is reduced when I placed in a or immersed in a water. How much now its present weight? Its present weight is now 20-gram weight. Why the weight of the stone decreased when I kept in water? Do you know the reason? Because water exerted an upward force on the stone. Because of the upward force, the stone appears to lose its weight. The stone really doesn't lose any of its weight. Now, what is the third step? The third step is we have to measure the weight of the speaker with the help of weighing machine. The weighing machine is ready for us. So quickly we will measure the weight of this liquid displaced out. How much it should be? Any idea? Yes. Okay. I will prove it. First of all, we have to measure the weight of empty beaker. Can you see what is the number on here? 48.19. Weight of the empty beaker is 48.90. Now I am adding the liquid which is displaced out by the stone. This is our third step. What is the reading on the weighing machine? 53.95. We calculated first mass of the stone in the air, that is 25 gram weight, and mass of the stone in the water, that we got it as 20 gram weight. And if you subtract mass of the air in the mass of the water, we will get buoyant force. How it is equal to buoyant force? Because the stone mass is reduced when you immerse it in the water. So water experiences an upward force. Because of that buoyant force or upward force or upthrust, it appears to lose its weight. So how much force it experiences? 5 gram weight. Now, what is the weight of the liquid displaced out when we measure on the weighing machine? We got it as 5.1. And in the previous slide, buoyant force is 5. Weight of the liquid displaced also 5 gram weight. From this, we proved the Archimedes principle that buoyant force is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by the water. What is buoyant force? It is upward force exerted by liquid on the object, which is equal to weight of the liquid displaced by. Now I am going to explain you how to calculate density of the same irregular shaped object. This is also one of the important experiment for 9th grade. What is meant by density? You know very well, density means mass of the object by volume of an object. Density is the ratio of mass of the substance to the volume of the substance. How can we calculate mass and how can we calculate volume of an irregular shape stone? What are the devices are there to measure it? First of all, we have to know what is meant by mass. Mass is nothing but amount of matter present in an object or the quantity present in a substance. For example, see here in the first small box there are very less number of molecules. As you see in the second box, number of molecules are more. So this quantity, less or more, how many of them are there, is nothing but mass. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. So what is meant by volume? Volume is nothing but occupying space. As we discussed earlier, the water is overflowing from the beaker because this stone occupies the space in the water. This occupying space is nothing but volume. So, how can we calculate mass of a given object? Mass of a given object can be measured with a device called spring balance. Spring balance is a device which is used to measure the mass of a given object. If you see the spring balance, it is calibrated with newtons on one side, grams on other side. Which side you have to take to calculate the reading? If you measure the reading on the Newton scale, it gives the weight of an object. If you take in the reading on the gram scale, it gives the mass of an object. The first step is the device has any zero error or not? First you have to check the pointer is at zero or not. If not, immediately you have to know that it has an error. What is that error? That error is called zero error. So before going to start the experiment, you have to adjust the device such that the pointer has to come to zero. The second step going to start the experiment is calculation of least count. The least count of the spring balance is the value of each and every line present in the scale is known as least count. Without calculating the least count, if my pointer is here, how can I know the value? If it is exactly 0, okay, it is 0. If it is near 25, it's 25. 50, yes, mass is 50 grams. But if the pointer is middle line, there is no reading mentioned on the scale. How to calculate? So that is only nothing but least count. Least count means it is the value of each and every division. There is a formula to calculate least count of a given device. What is the formula? Least count is equal to range of two long marked divisions by number of divisions between them. So what is meant by range? Range means it is highest value minus least value. How to calculate this range or number of divisions? So I am taking 250 gram range scale. So what is initial value is 0, final value is 250. To calculate least count, I am taking any two long marked readings. So I can take 75 and 100 or 100 and 125. For my convenience, I am taking the first two readings. So first reading is 0, it is the least value. Second reading is 25, that is the maximum value. So range of these two longer lines is 25 minus 0, which is nothing but 25. Next step, in the formula, in the denominator, what is there? Number of divisions. How many number of divisions are there between 0 and 25? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number of divisions are 5. What is the least count of my 0 to 250 gram spring balance? It is 25 minus 0 by 5. That is equal to 25 by 5, 5 grams. So each and every line present in the scale is equal to 5 grams. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So now I am measuring the mass of the stone with the help of a spring balance. What is the reading here? Exactly, the pointer is locating at 25 grams. So mass of the stone is 25 grams. The second step is we have to calculate the volume of a given irregular stone. Then how to calculate volume of a given irregular shaped stone? If it is in a regular shape, like as seen in the picture, if it is in the shape of a cuboid, we have a formula for volume of the cuboid to calculate as length into breadth into height. So length is here, it has 4 squares, breadth 3 squares, and height also 3 squares. Each square side is 1 centimeter. Then you will get here multiplying length into breadth, 4 into 3, 12 centimeters square, and again 12 into 3, 36 centimeter cube is the volume of a regular shaped cuboid. If we'll take a cuboid, to calculate the volume of the cuboid, we have a formula called length into breadth into height. If you substitute the values by measuring length, height and breadth, we will get the volume of a regular shaped cuboid. Then, if the stone is in the shape of a sphere, like a simple pendulum bob, I have simple pendulum bob with me. If the stone is in the shape of a sphere, again we have a formula to calculate volume of the sphere, that is V is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube. 4 by 3 is a constant number. Pi means 22 by 7, which is also a number. What we have to calculate here? Radius. How can we calculate radius of a sphere or spherical object? With the help of a vernier calipers, or I can measure with the help of a screw gauge. Then, if the stone is in the shape of a cylinder, for cylinder also we have formula to calculate its volume, that is pi r square h. But how can I say this stone is in the shape of a cylinder or a sphere or a cuboid? No, it doesn't have any particular shape to calculate volume. So how to calculate volume of a stone? It is not my doubt. It is the doubt got by Archimedes, the famous Greek scientist. He got a task from his king that he has to prove the purity of the gold crown which is made by goldsmith. So for that, first what he has to do, the concept is nothing but he has to calculate density. So how Archimedes complete his task? Only one option left with him is he has to calculate the density of a substance, that is crown. How he has to calculate the density of a crown? It doesn't have a particular shape like we did now. The stone, it doesn't have a shape of a cylinder, it doesn't have a shape of a sphere, and it doesn't matches with shape of a cuboid or a cube. So how to calculate density? Then why to calculate density? To prove that purity of a gold? The reason behind is the substance is made up of gold. If the crown is exactly made up of pure gold, then the gold is available in any shape. Like if you see here, beautiful ornaments, if it is available in the shape of a bangle or shape of a necklace or shape of a earrings or rings, finger rings, or in the shape of a bracelet. Whatever shape it is available, if it is made up of gold, its specific density always constant. Based on this concept, Archimedes started investigation. So, we know very well we can calculate mass of the object easily with the help of a balance. It may be a spring balance or a common balance. But how to calculate volume of irregular shaped crown? It is a very, very big task to Archimedes at the time. How to calculate volume of a irregular shaped crown? For that, the king gave 3 days time. He is thinking a lot how to calculate irregular shaped volume. So finally, the third day, when he is taking a bath, the bathtub is completely full of water. So the third day, when he entered into the tub, which is completely filled with water, he noticed that some of the water is spilled out. Then he got an idea. Immediately he take the mug and he immersed the mug still deep into the water. Again, some more amount of water spilled out. Immediately the Archimedes shouted, Eureka! 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 What is meant by Eureka? Eureka means I got an idea. I got an idea. What idea he got? The idea is we can calculate volume of irregular shaped object by immersing that irregular shaped object in water. Further, initially you have to take some amount of water in the container, and if you place the original gold in the container, how much amount of water is displaced out? If crown is exactly made up of same amount of gold, then the crown has to display the same amount of water. If not, the goldsmith mixed some amount of element called copper. Generally, copper is mixed with gold to make hardness, increase the hardness of the gold. So, what is the result Archimedes got here? The crown displays more amount of water than the gold given by the king. So they choose amount of gold and amount of crown should be same, and both are kept in the two beakers containing water, but gold displays less amount of water as compared to crown, which proves that the goldsmith makes some amount of other element in that. So for this, Archimedes is awarded and the goldsmith is punished. Why we discuss this concept here? Yes, we also has to calculate volume of a given irregular shaped stone. Now you got Eureka, right? Eureka? Yes. We also get that idea from the Archimedes. What is the idea? We can measure volume of irregular shaped object with the help of a. So which device shall we use to calculate the volume of a stone? Is it a measuring cylinder or a measuring jar? Again, it can be decided with the help of a least count. Which device least count is small? That device gives the accurate value. Now I am choosing one is 50 and the second one is 40. What is the range of 50 and 40? 50 minus 40, nothing but 10. Between 50 and 40, how many divisions are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 by 10 gives 1. So if it is a measuring cylinder, we can accurately measure the volume up to 1 ml. If it is a measuring beaker, 150, 200. If water lies between 150 and 200, how can I say the value exactly? It may be approximately 160 or 170 or 180. So I can't give accurate value with the help of measuring beaker. So I'm going with measuring cylinder to calculate volume of a stone. First of all, for this experiment, I'm filling the water up to 50 ml. Initially, I filled the water in the measuring cylinder up to 50 ml. And for clearance or the clarity to see the raised water level, I added some color to water so that we can see the raised water level. Is it exactly at 50 or above 50? So initial volume of the water is 50 ml. After immersing the stone into the cylinder, water level raised. Now, what is the value of water in the measuring cylinder? It is 59. Now, what is the volume of the stone? Initially, the value of the water in the cylinder is 50 ml. After immersing the stone in it, water level rises to 59. Why water level rises up? The stone occupies the space in the water. How much space it occupies? 9 ml. So, this 9 ml is the volume of the stone. Now we got the mass of the stone with the help of your spring balance, which is 25 grams, and volume of the stone with the help of your measuring cylinder, 9 ml or 9 centimeter cube. Divide the mass value with volume, you will get the density of a given irregular shape. Now we got the volume, we got the mass. So divide mass with volume, you will get the density of a irregular shaped stone. That is 25 by 9, 2.77 gram per centimeter cube is the volume of a stone. Not only stone, any substance density if you want, you can follow the same method which was given by Archimedes, which was proved by Archimedes. There are so many applications are there in day-to-day life. What are they? Let's have a small glance on that. The ships are constructed based on the Archimedes principle. Submarines are designed based on the Archimedes principle. Hydrometers are constructed, which is used to identify density of unknown liquids or fluids. Lactometers are designed to check the purity of your milk, whether the milk is mixed with water or not. If yes, how much amount of quantity of water is mixed. Hot air balloons are also designed on the Archimedes principle to lift up or down. So finally, Archimedes principle is used in designing ships and submarines, lactometers and hydrometers to measure the density of the liquid. I hope my session is useful to everyone. Thank you.
The MCLAB program is integrated into most subject lesson plans and has block periods allocated to it for its implementation right from preschool to senior secondary. The primary years, the child learns team building, collaborative, socio-emotional skills, hard and smart working, positive attitude skills, and many more which are required to build a great institution and a great society. Exposed to careers, profession and industries which are grade level appropriate. When you come to middle school, there are 100 to 120 hours of carefully curated MCLAB program which basically revolves around all of the above at a higher depth. There are regular aptitude tests that are conducted. Basically, the Meruvian is pushed into researching for his or her own future, which is a very exciting space to be in for a child or a parent or the school. For example, if law is picked up as an area of interest, the parent and the child are informed about the job description, the social and emotional intelligence skills that are required for that particular job, the challenges that come with the profession, the famous personalities of that particular industry, the universities and the examinations that need to be written to get into these universities, etc. All these are informed to the parent and the child to make a conscious decision. Along with this, 1 or 2 weeks externship program is designed based on the profession, career or industry the child picks. It's mapped to the child and it has to be pre-decided, so that we have enough time to curate that kind of program for them. All this enables the child and the parent to make a conscious decision which is more methodical, research oriented, passion oriented, based on capabilities and abilities of the child, and most importantly, happiness is the reason why a child should pick up their future in this manner.